Zoomers, good morning. We're having some technical issues. So if you all could sign in while we get people here in Flagstaff figured out. So is everybody in here? Has anyone been able to sign in to campus on the Zoom, Latonia? Sign in. Or Lauren? Let me know, please. Hear me now, in Paige? Patrice, can you hear me now?
I got signed in.
You did. Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
To just close out, restart the computers.
I don't know if that worked. I think that's the only subject I was getting. Vaccine. Tuesday, Thursday when the charts. Or something. Well, thanks, denied.
Okay,
But she said to give them the link to Zoom,
so,
but I don't know if that will help with the, getting in class material.
okay, so. Who's getting logged out?
These guys.
Okay, so when you're trying to log into Zoom. Let's see, do you have the Canvas page up on your side?
Yeah.
Could you go ahead and open the Canvas page? Okay, I see what happened. Could you hit edit?
Okay.
Save and publish.
Save and publish.
Yes.
Okay.
Someone unpublished the page. So now, if you refresh or try to go back to the page, it had there.
Remember the cabinets for the free food? Yeah, I mean, it's free food, yeah, no, like St. Mary's Pantry, they got some of these in there too.
Okay. Fixed,
Thank you.
no problem.
I think I did that because I changed the end because it was, then I thought it comes off.
It's possible.
Should have saved it.
Yeah, you have to be careful. In the top corner of the page, there's something that says. That means it's unpublished, not visible, and it turns green if it's visible to everyone.
They got it in.
Well, if Mary's the one bringing up on the projector from the instructor end, you have access to everything, including the back end.
Ah,
So it's only for the student end that publishing matters.
cool. Now, should I wait to get, I'll wait to get that file from you.
Give me a second.
No,
Check it right now.
no rush.
Would you prefer it sent to your email or? Okay,
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
no problem.
All right.
Okay.
It wasn't published. It was it was like the published was grayed out. Saved and published. If you want to know, okay.
Huh? Is there actually five today? Like 1 to 3? Is there classes at 1 to 3? On,
Math class?
yeah.
I'm
And
not
what about
sure.
Tuesdays, there's just afternoon classes on Tuesdays too, right?
Yeah. Oh, I don't, but I'm not sure. Could
Yeah.
they change the schedule? But I can find out for you.
Okay.
Sorry, guys, for getting a slow start today. I should be able to get in now to the class. I'm gonna share this, gonna get a new version of our 10 steps to advancing college reading. And while we're waiting for that, because we were having trouble filling it. And now we fixed that glitch. Trouble getting in?
Why are you signing to join? You do. We're making them sign in. Yeah. From the, quick, join from browser.
No,
Yeah, that's what I was asking.
I think it kind of is built in with your ID,
Really?
but no. Browser. Host is joining, we'll let them know. We have a waiting room there. All right, hang on, guys. Should let you in now, everybody.
Nobody else can hear us,
Everybody in?
or she can't hear anybody else either? Or is it just us?
I don't know. Mary Ann?
Yes.
I don't
Question?
know if she can hear us.
You have a question? Question. Have to get rid of this waiting room.
Mary Ann, can you hear us?
Yes, we can. I can. Can you hear me?
I don't know.
Hang on. Able to hear me? Can you hear me? No? Uh-oh, let me text you. Wow, everything's fine. Haywire. Danielle, can you hear me? Danielle, can you hear me? Can you hear me? I can, thank you. Hear me now? Are you, I don't know what to say. I'm unmuted and everybody can hear me, but you guys. Is the speaker on in Page?
I don't know.
Is the speaker on in Page? It's right now.
All right, they're better when they're cold.
So. Where's that,
Is yours open?
where-
I opened that one. It's a contribution.
Oh, no, you don't need to open that one. Me, I'm sharing that screen with you.
Can we reduce this and then we have to go into the settings?
Gonna get started, because we gotta get started, but I'll check back in with you.
I don't know how to reduce it. Well, because this is her page. Okay, let's, what it says,
It could be on her edit too.
don't exit yet, the option.
Yeah, you would, I think you would want to exit full screen so it could minimize it, right?
All right,
Mute,
so
computer sound.
fortunately, that is not there today. So we're gonna-
Well,
we'll have a look at
I
it.
want to try and go into.
So we'll be doing,
That's reviewing her screen, so that's.
Oh, that's her screen.
yeah.
Oh, got it. Okay.
our 10 steps to college reading. We're gonna finish that chapter.
We
We're
do
gonna
settings
work
on
on
this
the
side?
story, the
Oh,
Japanese
maybe.
story a little bit. And then the last 2 weeks, we're gonna really focus on some writing. So, I want you guys to be able to write that essay
There it is.
and also know the language arts, like grammar and usage rules. Let's look at what Kenyatta did. This is about a chapter in our social studies class, some of you are in, called Black and White. And it's about African Americans and coming here,
It's
And
under
the-
your, it's under the microphone.
slave labor. Anyway, so the end of that chapter, we say, what are the contributions that African Americans made to the United States? It's a huge topic, obviously, but this is what he wrote. Let's look at the grammar, though. We're not as concerned with the meaning right now, the content. And with the grammar and what they call usage. All right, African Americans have been a great contribution being a political voice when America needed change. So anyone have any thoughts about that for the grammar? Have been, Has been.
Input
what do you think
device.
about that verb usage? Has been, African Americans has been a great contribution. Are people contributions? I'm not sure I like that. Linking verb, we're gonna get into verbs. I know we've already discussed that there's action verbs. The things you do. There's linking verbs that just I am, the verb to be, in all of its myriad forms, like I am, I was, I would be. And then there's,
Have you contacted her?
Well,
Well,
what-
they're teaching
what-
class, no.
and there's one here, no, there's not one here, like could, I should be happy.
I don't even know,
could
she
be
didn't tell
happy,
me.
I would be happy.
She's telling me how to unmute it, but I already did everything that she'd already said to do.
Have you guys,
Is this teacher being recorded?
Yeah. She told me, Mary suggested calling Linda Fullerton.
I'm just
Hi,
gonna,
is this Linda? Yeah. Hi, this is Patrice. I'm calling from the Page campus. Mary Hanson, our GED instructor, is out today. So I'm trying to get the instructor to we can't hear her. We can see her on the screen, but we can't hear her.
Okay, I'll let her know.
I've told her, but she just kind of continued doing what she was doing, so. All right, thank you. Bye. That was helpful. Excuse me?
Think so. Okay, so there it is, it's off.
It's like that.
I'll turn it back on.
It says your speaker is off.
Yeah, I think it's on their side. They can't hear me. But I'm not muted and everyone else can hear me. And we can hear them.
Tried to go.
I think there's
I bet
speakers
she
on,
can hear
but their
us, it sounds
settings
like.
are off.
Yeah, you have to mute it back on the bottom.
Mute us over there.
I haven't muted you guys, but I don't know. Anyway, let's finish this and then we'll go back and try to help Paige. Come on, give me some ideas. I know you think that sounds strange, right?
That's the little accent he talks in. Yeah,
We're gonna go,
That's like that, partial African accent.
right.
That's why he put has instead of had. I heard
Right.
read before,
Mhm.
but.
That was actually in that poem by Langston Hughes too. It was
Oh.
a different way of using verbs.
Oh, yeah.
Lead to other things, so we have to write in the kind of like standard English thing, you know, to please our higher ups regarding formal writing. Not individual writing or not speaking at all, just like writing for an academic purpose, school writing. Is it past tense or is it supposed to be past tense? Well, no, not actually, because if they're still happening, it's still happening. The contributions are still being made. Yeah, I don't think it's on our end. I think that it might be on their end because everybody here is good and everybody at home is good.
Okay, so everyone at home is fine, it's just out in Page, so then it's probably something on their speakers, but. Where's your little control bar real quick? Your microphone's there and. Those exclusively on Zoom are still hearing it just fine?
Zoomies are hearing it. We just had problem in Page. And Mary's not there today.
Okay, well, she had to be there to open up the room, so as soon as she gets back, I'll see if I can walk her through it.
No, so she has somebody who came, the receptionist.
Oh.
Set things up. So she won't be there. She has commitment. And I'm sorry, Paige. I really am. All right. Okay, let me help with this. Because it's tricky. First off, unless somebody wants to interject and tell me what to do. We'll do this. We'll show Kenyatta this too. I know that he would be interested in getting this. It's great. I think this is just the first sentence of a little glitch in it.
Your share screen is not showing that page.
Have you seen that page on your screen?
I want to see you on the screen.
They were getting just your.
That's good.
They were getting this page instead. They were getting your drive page.
Guys, tell me these
There we
things.
go.
Tell me these things. Well, what were you even thinking I was talking about? Oh, because it was up there. Sorry about that, Zoomers. Some kind of poltergeist got in here last night, I'm telling you. Okay. So we're talking about contributions. We're not talking about people aren't contributions. So this to be linking verb that helps us describe people, right? Marianne is flummoxed about the text.
Lummoxed.
So that's a way of describing a person. I'm linking her to a description. That's a linking verb. It's usually the verb to be. But people aren't contributions. So I'm going to put this is a verb have instead of to be. Have been, how about have made? Okay. So we'll talk about verbs a lot today, actually. This is a helping verb have, but the main verb here is to make, made. So this is a combination of present and past tense for a verb tense that has something that started in the past and is going to continue into the future. And some people use these verbs very naturally. Some of us have to think about it a little bit. And not all of us want to know the names of these verbs, but we need to understand that there's a helping verb to have made, and a past tense verb, which is taking us from the past, already made contributions, and that's still being made. So you have a combination of past and present. A great contribution, being a political voice when America. Okay, so now what tense should we be in? As we started with the sort of mixed tense. So I'm gonna, what do you think, guys? Come on, tell me. Needs would be in the present. But this has the past in it too much, so we have to put it in the past. Let's see if that, let's try both ways and see if your ear tells you, because a lot of grammar, you just need your ear to tell you. African Americans have made a great contribution being a political voice when America needs a change. Or African Americans have made a great contribution being a political voice when America needed a change. Which one sounds better to you? I agree. And that's an awesome sentence, because yes, the civil rights movement is waking people up to people's civil rights. And it's about African-American civil rights, but ultimately it's about everybody's civil rights. You can't have civil rights and not include everybody in it. Those aren't civil rights. So this is a beautiful sentence. But we're going to go back to focusing on the grammar. We've had the Civil War. That's pure past, right? We're not having it now. We don't need to mix our verbs. So this, if you wouldn't use we, if you spelled it out, you'd say we have had the Civil War. That's a common mistake that people made. It's not terrible, but there's really no reason to go there. We had it. It's done. Simple past tense. We had the Civil War. Tell me about Civil War. What is it? Is it a proper noun? Is there one of them? Is it a name? Yeah, it's a name of an event, and we must capitalize that. We had the Civil War, the Civil Rights Movement, and the women's suffrage movement, where Black Americans has influenced the outcome. Also excellent. Content, what should we fix? Because you can see the computer doesn't like something.
Black.
That what should it be capitalized? Is that what you're saying?
Black Americans, I think.
That's become a thing now where we are capitalizing that. What about this? Where the women's suffrage movement?
Yeah, that sounds like a specific event.
It needs a possessive. No, sorry, over here. Women's suffrage movement. It's their movement. It's possessive apostrophe S. Okay, Marianne's hat. right? Marion's glasses have to do the apostrophe S. That's it? We good with that? Sometimes we miss it. Women suffer, like if it was a name of the suffrage movement, we would have capped and put, yeah, but we still need to say women's suffrage movement. We're Black Americans. I want a past tense verb after that. What is it, please? Past tense. Had. But again, had influence is a common mistake that students make because people speak this way a lot now. They stick the had in everywhere. No, we don't need it. It's not the worst mistake you can make, but you just don't need it. And it's more elegant without it, right? African Americans influence the outcome, not had influenced the outcome. That means it happened in the past. We'll talk more about that had verb, helping verb, but influence the outcome. Black American leaders has touched. Kenyatta should be here. We will want to talk about these verbs to him too. Again, what do I do, guys? What are we in the past tense? What's extra? We don't need it. Tell me. The has, let's take it out. They just did it. They touched the heart of the country by speeches, music, and things like dancing. African Americans fix the verb here. What do you want?
Delete it. Or had.
Let's delete it. Made powerful songs. That's stronger too. It's more elegant. That bring people past tense. We got to stay in the past tense. That's the other rule about grammar. If you're in the past, you have to stay in the past. You have to be consistent throughout the sentence. Good. Brought an irregular verb. People together from all walks of life. Nice. Bob Marley, Michael Jackson, and even newer dance videos. Now do we want to just put that back into that mixed tense where it's still happening, but it already started? Let's do it. That we can do because it has some past in it. Have brought people closer. We did it. Okay, excellent, guys. Do you remember now? Simple past tense, don't put had. Okay, good. The page crew does not have this handout. You're stretching the limits of my technical savvy. Yeah, it's just this, no. Okay, that's all right. All right. Let me get into our other document. Excellent.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
I will be on standby with my tech bag and everything.
Oh my God, that'd be so amazing. Amazing complication.
Came in, finagled the wires.
think we should hire someone to do this part. Right? What's the lowest rate you'd go for? What's the lowest pay you take
Lowest pay I would take?
to be my technical assistant?
You don't work off commission out when they work by the hour?
Right here.
Well, probably 50,
Yeah,
45, 50 now.
I guess that, I was gonna pay for it
But then-
myself. All right,
But then I'd
so,
only be here for 1 hour, so.
yeah, you're right. Yeah, cover your costs. I think we're gonna wait and download this another time. So we'll go back to our class materials, please. In our course, and we're gonna go to our 10 steps. Everybody should have that. I know some of you downloaded it onto your desktops. If you have that version, go ahead and open that up. This is a fillable PDF. We're just trying this out for the first times. Got a few kinks, but we're gonna work it out. I'm gonna bring up the version we did last time. You have to look in the folder to find it. You lost? Are you in the class where you see the Zoom link and the sign-in sheet?
What is it under?
10 steps to improving college reading. Then you have
Oh,
to
yeah.
find it in the folder. So we're doing the 10 steps to improving college reading. Just reshare that. Everybody should have a copy, either hard copy that Mary made for page people, or you guys online should have it in your class materials. Everybody opened it? Guys have the patience of saints. There's the sign-in sheet. Okay. All right. So this is a really amazing book. As I mentioned, you can get, it's quite expensive because it's a textbook for college. They do it in reading classes. When people need a little boost up on the reading when they get to college. So it's good to do it before that. You can buy them used though. They're still pretty expensive, but it's an amazing book. So we're gonna work through this paragraph first. I mean, this version first, and then, I'm sorry, this chapter first. And then see if we can have some time for the next chapter. All right, so I opened it. Downloaded it, and I opened it. Now you guys already did that. You should have done that last class. If not, download it and open it. And then you have your own copy. Save it with your initials, okay? So please remember where it is next class so you can refer to it. I don't have to go through this process again. Did you find it? Is it your question? Yes, I just found something.
Save it.
We'll just watch this one. So. Justine, you have to pass it down. I hope everybody found it. We did this. If you weren't here, please do it. It's invaluable. Work. Do you guys agree that this is good? This is good work for reading? Who likes it? Everybody. That's great. No, I like, but it's very good work. And we talked about outlining. So we have at this point a main idea of a paragraph, and then they're trying to support what they're saying. You know, in school, you can't just say stuff, you have to support it. And in life as well, frequently. You claim that someone bumped your car, you have to support it with either pictures or witnesses or, you know. So depending on what we're trying to do, sometimes we want to give reasons why the statement that we make, the main idea is true, or we give details of how it played out, or we give, you know, explanations. And so we end up having the main idea. In this case, studies reveal several reasons why some children become bullies. That's a very kind of bland statement, but then you know they're going to give several reasons. You can write like that too. You can just say there's 3 reasons why I believe that taxes should be lowered, or something, right? Depending on the topic you get on the GED. And so the major details are there, but they're also supported by little examples and other minor details, okay? So here's the major details: certain combination of size and personality. And then here they kind of spell it out a little bit more for you. Bigger, more aggressive children may dominate their smaller, quieter peers. They're kind of, you know, beefing it up. So it's not just size and personality, it's a little more detail, bigger size, more aggressive, the personality, okay? And then we have 2 other major details and then the minor details. Let's look at the paragraph here a little bit before we go on to where we ended last time. So here's the 3rd reason brought in by these words that add things to paragraphs. Finally, exposure to real violence is a factor in bullying. So that's the 3rd supporting detail. Right? Then they give you the minor detail. Studies indicate victims of bullies often turn into bullies themselves. And it's not a great topic for first thing in the morning, but whether abused by family members or tormented by other kids, bullies typically learn their behavior from others. So kids abused by family members or bullied by other kids often become bullies. That's the minor detail. And the major detail was exposure to real violence is a factor in bullying. Okay. So here's our adding words that you can recognize when you're reading. So it makes you really know like what's happening in the paragraph really easily. Several kinds of, a number of, 4 steps, various causes, a series of, among the results, a few factors, 3 factors, several advantages. You can see that some of them are kind of telling you how many things will be discussed: several, 4, right? 3, a few. Okay. And here are some other words that signal that you're going to go to the next major detail. 1 first, secondly, third to begin with for one thing, another, also in addition, next, moreover, further, furthermore, last, finally. So we went through that, and if you haven't done this, please do this at home. And we went to the mapping, which I love because it's good for some people who have more of a visual sense of how to organize something. And we'll be doing that in our writing weeks, just mapping things out rather than an outline form, because it suits some people's brains. How many people think they might be more of a visual person that likes outlining? I mean, that likes mapping? How many people think they're probably But you look at this and you're like, I like the way that looks rather than the outline. Where you have the one category and then you indent and have the next one and you have the next one. Which one? Since you guys, you're the ones in the class. So your aptitudes and interest me greatly. Which one do you think is more approachable and better for you? Like the outline? Traditional, yeah, this one, where you add things. You indent. Other thoughts? I already voted. I like the, oh, we have some, Raven likes both. Okay, maybe it depends on what you're writing about. Else, please, please. Organized, okay. Good feedback. Let's look at this. Several factors interfere with having good memory, lack of motivation. You know, that's our first. Kind of working on getting these boxes to work better. Daniel has made a better file, but I just can't get it open today. It's too much. Just do it like that. What's the second several? What's the next factor? Let you guys read this.
Without a real desire. to Remember something you probably want.
Is that a factor that interferes with? I think that's good. This is the desire is sort of explaining motivation. Motivation is desire. So that's kind of the minor detail. But we're looking for the three main ones. First. Or there's four. And what's the next one? Self-doubt. And the next final one? Distraction. Distraction is really killer of a lot of things. Okay, we've done this, but we're doing it again. Which words introduce the first major detail? We're looking for those words that kind of tell you that they're going to be like talking about two things or next or finally or. Yeah, one. That's the second major detail. Or one such. Next one. For lack of practice. Another. So, you know, you see you're adding information and you're telling words saying, I'm going to add another piece of information for you, right? Or I'm going to add the first one. You know, it's helping you add information to the paragraph. The third major detail, what's that introduced with? Self-doubt. What's the word that tells us we're on the third one? Third. Oops. And the last. Oh, all right. Read out loud. Do you see it?
Many people become nearly tongue-tied when they want to meet other people. For those of us who find starting conversations with strangers difficult, the following four strategies may be useful. Notice that each is developed in question form and writing. The other person to respond. One approach is to introduce yourself, giving your name and asking the name of the other person. I am Shelby, and who are you? The second approach is to refer to the physical setting in a question. You might, for example, make such a comment as, this is the awful weather for a game incident. Another approach is to give the other person a compliment and ask a question related to it. You might say, for instance, your braid looks great. Did it take long to do? Finally, you can seek direct information from the other person. At a work gathering, you can ask, which department do you work in? At a party, you might say, go and jam. And make it happen to.
All right, flattery gets you everywhere. Thank you. Good job. Many people become nearly tongue-tied. That's, yeah. The adolescents tend to be kind of awkward. And they discovering who they really are. They're not just kids like, yay, like, get out of my way. You know, they're trying to be adults, making their best effort. Okay, so that's the main idea. Well, the main idea that they're going to actually, that's kind of an intro. That's the topic. Here's the main idea. For those of us who find starting conversations with strangers difficult, the 4 following strategies may be useful. And then they have a little note. Each is developed in question form. The common one is, how have you been? Or when did you start coming here? Or things like that. But the example they give is what? Still up. I was kind of teasing, but I was just kind of kidding about the compliment. That's like the last farther in the paragraph. Which one? Yes. That word one, so we know, oh, they're on the first strategy. 4 strategies are on the first strategy. 1 approach is to introduce yourself, giving your name and asking the name of the other person. And then the minor detail that they're doing to kind of fill it out, explain it better, is to say, hi, I'm Shelby, and who are you? Second, what's the second strategy?
Ready?
Mm-hmm. At all. Okay, good. And then they fill in the detail. You might, for example, make a comment such, this is awful weather for a game, isn't it? Now, the difference between the map and the outline, which is probably why some of you prefer the outline, is that it's not clear where to put 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, in what order kind of the map is working. But when you're really beginning writing and you're just throwing stuff out there, it's amazing. And then you can figure out the order later. But yeah, that's one of the differences, because where do I put 2? Do I put it on the side or do I put below 1? You know what I'm saying? I just choose to put it on the side over there. Okay, what's the next one? What's the next strategy? And how did you know that was the next one? What was the word that cued you into the fact they were giving the next one? No, we're looking for an adding word. That we're adding information. We had 1 already. And then we had a second. What's introducing the 3rd strategy? A word that tells you, oh, we're going to bring something else into the picture. Gonna add or bring something else in the picture. What is it?
Make such a comment.
Just simple words like. Yeah, what is it? Another. Okay, and that it's basically give a compliment. And then ask a question. And then they fill in like your braid looks great, blah, blah. And we have the last strategy, which is what? And what's the word that tells you they're telling you the next strategy? Final, okay, good. All right, so let's go up and look at those joining addition words again. And believe me, by the time you're done with this paragraph, because they have all these practice tests at the end, like they review, which is one of the strengths of the book, is that they give you a lot of opportunities to learn this skill, which is awesome. I've taught the whole book in a class helping people pass the CUNY entrance exam, which City University of New York had a pretty stiff exam to get in. Used to be everybody got in, and they changed that. And we did the entire book, and then they got in. Like serious, you know, it's excellent. It's taught in a lot of colleges, and other courses like this one. Here's some addition words. Who wants to read those out loud? Rob?
Where are we at?
We scrolled up to page 108.
Wait. Yeah, just the words themselves started at the top.
Addition, you can just read the shaded box, addition words.
All right, addition words, one. First of all, secondly, thirdly, begin with, for one thing, other, another. Addition, next, moreover, further, furthermore, last of all, finally.
Excellent. So you see, they're just these bland words. You wouldn't even notice, but they help the reader know that we're on to the next factor in this case. We're on to the next reason or on case, you know, so they're helpful, and they're helpful for writing, and they're helpful for reading, because you're reading, you're staying organized with the program. Like, I'm reading for these factors. Let me just ignore the little detail right now a little bit and get the main factors. And then when I get the questions down at the bottom, I will know the main factor. I can go check the minor detail, but I have a good like skeleton in a way of the paragraph. Okay. Let's do one more. Oh, this one is, I don't like that. I don't believe that you should have children eating while they're studying. It just doesn't make sense to me. Maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, we did that one. We're going to go forward to this one. Who'd like to read? Anybody online? Kaniel, you want to read? On page 114. For us.
Industrialized dairy farm. Dairy farming difference from old-fashioned dairy farming to two basic respects. First of all, there is a means savings of labor in industrial farming. Yeah, means industrial farming have milking machines installed in huge corrals, and each revolution allows sufficient time for a cow to be milked. Consequently, it takes only one operator to place and release a cow as each milking station comes by the gateway. In contrast to many nations, milking is still done by hand and takes about 10 minutes per cow. The second major difference is the higher milking output per cow in industrial farming. The average American cow gives 7.5 times more milk than does the average cow in Brazil, where farming are old-fashioned. Oh, Brazil, where farms are old-fashioned, the productivity differences are so great that milk is far cheaper in the United States than in Brazil.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I've been to one of those farms. The cows get on a conveyor belt. It's like being in a carousel in an amusement park, and they go around and they like it because the rest of the time you're just standing around doing nothing.
So it keeps them exercise and
Well, they just stand there. They're attached to a machine, but it's better than standing in the field.
yeah, right,
It's like their entertainment for the day. Get on the carousel.
purpose.
Yeah. So right away, when I read this, I looked, that two jumped right out at the first sentence. I hope it did for you. I just grabbed it. Did you?
Industrial one?
Two basic respects. Because then I know how they organize the paragraph. Industrial dairy farming differs from old-fashioned dairy farming in two basic respects. So we're sort of talking about how things are laid out more than like what they're saying, anyway, you know. By the way, what tense is this in? Past, present, or future? Present tense. Okay, so the first, how they differ, how they're different in two respects. First, okay, let's do it. We know that's the major detail. It has that word that introduces it. First, what is it? I'm going to put it in immense saving of labor. And then they give the minor detail. They kind of explain it, flush it out. The cows are milked on a huge carousel, and each revolution allows sufficient time for a cow to be milked. That's kind of hard to imagine. Each revolution, so I guess they only go around once. And why is this labor saving? Because it only takes one person to do it. Wow, all those cows, just one person. And then they give a little other detail because we're looking at differences. So they say, in contrast, many nations milking is still done by hand. If they say it by hand, they're not like, you know, like that. They're not doing like that by hand. They put the thing on, attach it to the udders, and then that, yeah, I'm not talking about hand milking. I don't believe. That would probably take more than 10 minutes. I don't know. Let's make sure their horns are cut, because otherwise they'll gore you. My brother worked in the dairy industry. A bit. Yeah, they'll swing back and then, you know, what's the second major difference? The second major detail here. It's late in the paragraph. They explain the first one a lot more. What is it? So we're kind of talking about, yeah, higher milk output. So it's kind of, this is a little more complicated of a paragraph because we're comparing things. And we're not just saying kids, you know, should, you know, how to improve study habits, ABC, you know, it's contrasting two types of farming in regards to two respects and what their labor, and then there's the higher milk output. Okay, let's look for the minor detail for the immense saving of labor. What's the minor detail? How do they explain that? We don't want to say too much, we'll just put a few words. How is there an immense saving of labor, of people working, laboring?
One cow gives 7.5 times more milk. Oh, no.
That's milk
The
output.
average cow in Brazil.
We're on the first one up here, immense labor saving. Yeah, milking machines. And even the revolution, we won't even put that in because that's really minor detail. Kind of milking machines? Milking machines, yeah. But. And for the second major detail, the higher output, I think you had that.
Huh?
I don't know why there's more output on the industrial farms, actually. Not sure why that is. Sometimes they give them hormones, but that's just to keep them lactating longer. Anyway, we don't know why exactly, but there's a higher output. What was the detail? American cows. 7.5.
Times more milk than the average cow. in Brazil.
That's a lot. All right, so that was the detail explaining there's a higher milk output per cow. They end it with the productivity.
Productivity.
Yeah. There's a huge dairy in Cochise County. If you're ever down there, you could tour it. You'd have to have a strong heart. In my opinion, but it's very efficient. All right, let's take a break. We had a lot of break in the beginning of class. We'll just take a 5-6 minute break.
A strong heart or a strong gut.
Oh, environment education and during the break, it was like a staff outing. They had lunch, and so it was like food trucks they brought in, and so there was like a vegetarian food truck, there was like a meat food truck, and like everybody lined up at the practice. And there was a vegan food truck, and I like a bunch of people went to the vegan food truck, and they were like, we only had 10 people sign up for vegan, why are all these people lined up? Because just seeing all those cows and
Oh, I know, right?
they were really, I'm not gonna eat cow. Right now, and then seeing kind of. lives.
Vegans wouldn't drink milk either, huh?
Hmm.
Why do animals eat meat?
Hmm.
A lot of animals, why do they eat meat?
That's very good.
See?
I'm not a vegan.
You gotta think, in order to keep a farm up, you gotta kill the region around the area. You know, You know, anything that eats the food, basically, you gotta kill it every.
And maintain your land.
Where you come from? Mainly when I. Like what?
Clearing the land.
Supposed to be here at 10?
Yeah. Like,
Huh?
well, welcome.
Yeah.
You can help.
Mm,
Your ID card.
yeah, it is.
Did you get a password?
Huh?
You have a password?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, cool. I don't know if we'll get you on the computer right now. That's fine. I just wanted to figure it out.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, there's. let's see this. This is probably a good. Happen the second one.
Right, thanks.
Imagine.
So, like, well, not naturally. We go over here.
Go back time.
Yeah, if I, you can only go forward.
You can't, you can like, okay. Well, it's not the same, it's just one. Some trees are so nice.
Yeah.
Dry out, they take all the water and. it's just-
That's all pain, like, the root, they go under the pipe. And uproot it, and
That is a lot of water. I lost some.
it's probably because of the fire.
Yeah, we were thinning at times.
Yeah, because they know that, they haven't been getting like, putting down on this in overgrowing. And it's been really bad season those times, so they're like, it's like a preventative.
There's a lot of it out. there. And but, wow. Flagstaff's known for its fire. Prevention. And did you know that it's the most, I think it's either the most or the second most forested city in the country? Has a lot of green
Thing.
in the city itself. Those pines, they grow fast.
I think it's also because it's considered a night city,
A what?
night city.
Night city?
Yeah,
For
because
the
the
stars?
laboratory,
Oh,
you gotta keep the pollution down.
that's,
The light
yeah,
pollution.
that's cool.
So there's not really like
Yeah.
hard in it. That's why you don't see like heavy duty stuff around.
Nice guys.
If you go to like California, you small.
Yeah. History really.
Alright, it's really heavy.
Yeah.
You can't interfere with like a level of pollution.
Mhm.
If you go past that level, then it's no longer good enough city.
Smog and then, you know, up the carbon loading. And other things. All right, so we have. We have some new folks today, welcome. I am gonna go forward with our. Got a bad computer,
Yeah, next time you come in class,
which, is that okay?
yeah, those two are. I
You
think
wanna
that's the-
move if you want, but
That's the bad one on the end.
can you turn that keyboard over? Please, turn that keyboard upside down, that one, thank you. That tells us.
Okay.
All right, we're gonna go back to our Murakami story. Which is a story that was written. How many people, by a Japanese fellow? How many people finished that story? The Shanghai Monkey? Has anybody read it? Anybody at home? So nobody was here last Monday or last Wednesday.
I was reading it. I read most of it, but I didn't retain that. Yeah, I mean, like I wanted to.
No, I have to leave, like,
And now Kenny's still reading it.
Still reading it, but the only thing that stuck out for the whole title and the outline was that she forgot only her name throughout the whole thing. She would remember everything else.
Hmm.
Good story.
It's long. It's long, but you know,
Oh, wait, yeah.
I started out telling you guys I want you to be reading machines. So I'm giving you longer stuff now. Better, just plow through it. Not that long.
Isn't that really long meeting?
Yeah, it's long.
Yeah,
Did you like it?
yeah. Honestly, I can't remember this.
It's a very different style than we've been looking at before. We've read things you might want to say like had more heart.
Oh, wait.
You know what I mean? It's kind of bland, maybe a little bit. Like just sort of not very emotional. That's kind of the point of the story as well. Let's look at it. Because I do want to move on to other things soon. Not to rush, but you know, want to cover what we want to cover. Because we don't have a ton of time left in our semester, our quarter. But we will also be here this summer, so. Title was pretty memorable though, right? Because it's monkey in it. All right, so I'm gonna go in there, look at that. What I'm gonna do. Like everybody to open that story on your computer. If you have access. While I give you something else to look at. Yes. Yeah, we'll deal with that after. You guys will talk to the guy. We're gonna be. You can't get it. So everybody open that story. And I'm going to open a poll I made. For this one. for fun. So we'll do something a little unusual, we're gonna do the questions first. And for those of you who read the beginning of the story, you can help us. Meanwhile, if someone can read the first paragraph for me out loud. Jason?
I like,
Okay, cool, go for
I
it.
like to read.
Thank you.
Right, the first paragraph.
Yeah.
She sometimes had trouble remembering her own name. Usually this happened when someone unexpectedly asked what it was. She'd be a little boutique, getting the sleeves of a dress altered, and the saleswoman would say, "Your name, ma'am," and her mind would go blank. The only way she could remember it was to pull out her driver's license, which had bound to seem weird to the person she was talking to. Even if she was on the phone when it happened, the awkward silence as she rummaged through her purse inevitably made the person at the other end wonder what was going on.
Okay. Thank you. So I'm just gonna mention briefly that authors, sometimes they just write, they just pour everything out, but after that they edit. So they're not gonna put anything in there that they don't want to have in there, you know what I'm saying? So when I ask you guys to be detectives when you're reading, because what we're really trying to do here is to be what I call close readers. Want to read really well. Then when you hit the test, you can read really well. You know what I mean? You're not going to be like blurring it, skipping things, jumping around, being confused. You're going to read very closely and very well. So kind of reading like you're a detective, like you're trying to figure this stuff out right away. Like the one we had where they said 2 factors for industrial farming. 2, grab that information. This, grab whatever you can right away. Okay, what is this? It's a lady in a boutique right away. We know she's probably kind of like wealthy or at least very quite well off. And we know then there's this weird thing. She can't remember her name. Is she sick? Is something wrong with her? We're constantly trying to like grab the information as quickly as we can and put everything together like a puzzle. So do you guys see this poll? Okay, let's take it. Let's do it. Let's do it together. I don't take it because I made it. And so what's the first question? Shirley, what's the first question? You should see the poll on your Zoom, everybody.
Which kind of narrator is telling this story?
Yes. Thank you. You're letting everybody off the hook. Who's the narrator? First person, second person, or third person? Can you give me an example? Second? Which second? What's the pronoun for second person usually? A lot of use? No. You see they, you see she, you see a name. She, what person is that? First, second, or third person. We've been over this quite a bit. So the person who's telling the story isn't saying, I did this and I did that, and I felt this and I felt that. They've been talked about by somebody else. You think she did this, she did that, they did this, they saw that. So let's put third person. Now, is a third person limited or omniscient? We don't know that well yet right away. We need to read the story a little bit more. But does the person Are they talking about her feelings or her thoughts in the first paragraph? Is the narrator reading the mind of the character in the first paragraph? No? She's not. Is he omniscient, meaning is he all knowing like a god?
No.
If he is, they're keeping him a secret.
Is it monkey? Monkey god.
Monkey guy.
Aren't we telling same stuff about how she's feeling inside? Let's hear. Oh, he's in her head, or whoever. She, he.
She doesn't remember a lot. She doesn't remember her name all the time. I don't know.
That's kind of an internal thing, not remembering.
Right, yeah.
Not like you would look at someone and say, oh, they're not remembering. Yeah, she felt like a dog. That's kind of like internal thing, feeling like a dog. So what do you want to put? Limited? It was just watching the behavior, or omniscient, like understanding everything that they're. Let's leave that one. Let's leave, well, let's click something and then we'll come back to it because we haven't met any other characters yet, so we don't know if the narrator's reading their minds yet. So let's just choose one, guys, and just let me go on the second question. Who's gonna go for omniscient? I can't keep repeating the same terms every class, guys. You have to bring your prior experience in the classroom to the next class. Why? Because I'll just be starting over every single class. The people who've been coming will not be able to go forward with the studies. So you've got to, I know we have new people, that's fine. Have to bring the information I gave you in the other classes to this class and remember it. So when you see narrator on the GED, you'll know if they ask you what person it's in, you will have remembered because we went over it quite a few times. And then they'll say limited or omniscient, and you will know that because we've been doing it enough times for you to remember. Scolding you right now.
Well, I've only read like the first.
Okay, everybody feeling what you think for now. Let's do that. Yeah, click that. Click whatever you think is likely to happen in the rest of the story. Some people have read about half the story. Or you can flip forward and see. But now we're doing the survey, so we may flip forward later. Where is this story set? So that's the other word we've had is setting. Right, where something is taking place and is it, and also its time period. So any clues about where this is set?
Or are the names Japanese? I think they're Japanese.
Yeah, they sound Japanese to me too.
Yeah, they sound Japanese to me too. That's something you'd have to have kind of familiarity with Japanese names.
Yeah,
Or
Sinagua,
it's a place, right?
any river. Yeah, Sinagua.
You looked that up?
No, just what I've read so far.
Yeah. For it being Japanese.
All the names are Japanese.
They just sound Japanese if you have familiarity with that. And if you did a little quick Google for Shinagua, you'd find out where it was. Oh, okay.
I mean, kind of get, I don't know, because I don't feel kind
In the story, it mentions about a junior college in Tokyo.
So, and then
Bingo.
they take a train, typically you don't take a train, because there's not a good train. Anywhere in America.
Oh, the trains in Japan are
They're
awesome.
often there, so I would assume.
Yeah,
Would be,
they have those really fast bullet trains. Yeah, and then that was great, Latonia, because they actually does say that she. Could you repeat that? Latonia,
Oh, it mentions where her uncle went to a junior college in Honda, Tokyo, or something like that, in Tokyo. A junior, yeah, it mentions a college in Tokyo.
okay, excellent. So that's the kind of detective work that we need to do when we're reading, so we just have the best knowledge of the story that we can. And we can start putting things together for ourselves, like now you've read a story by someone in Tokyo, you know what I mean, and you know even more than you did before. So Tokyo is in Japan. So click that on your poll. What is the time period? It's an easy one. I misspelled that. The late 20th or early 21st century. Yeah, you've got the cars, technology, trains. All like that. It's quite familiar to us. That's technology really helps you know if it's old, like they're reading by candlelight. It's not, they don't have electricity yet. Okay, good. This is personal to you guys. After you read the title, were you waiting for a monkey to appear in the story? So you can choose one of those. Yes, because it's a weird title. And no, I got distracted by the details of the story. So put whatever works for you. Again, if I saw a monkey in the title, I would be waiting for the monkey. And I would know that the story is not just about.
That's how I was. It was both for me. It was the title got me weird, and then while I got into the story, then I was like, when is this monkey gonna appear? But then it's actually her, where she can't remember her name.
Yeah, I think I was the same way. That's the strength of the writer, that he got you like lost in the story and the details. And you're like, oh, what's this? What is going on? And then you later go, wait, what about the monkey? Because they don't do something for no reason. You're not gonna put monkey in the title and not have anything to do with monkey. Generally, that would be like bad writing. All right. Who's the main character? Good, good. Yeah, that's a kind of a trick question. Because what she uses her married name, and then she uses, what does she use at work? If you've gotten that far, she uses her maiden name. So her married name is what? I remember.
Kiondo?
Yeah. So 2 and 3 are correct. She uses both. It's kind of like, wait, she can't remember her name, but she's never decided on which name she's supposed to have. You know, supposed to like commit to. Like she's just still talking about her marriage. Yes, it's hard to change the paperwork, but you know, you're married. What's the main character's counselor's first name? If those of you who got that far. So that's the kind of thing, like sometimes, especially with these names are all Japanese, and sometimes, although they're easy to pronounce because they're phonetic. Just pronounce how they sound. There's how they read is how they're pronounced. You want to try to keep the character straight as quickly as you can. Sometimes it's good just to jot down the characters so that you're not getting confused by like who's doing what. That can be really helpful in the story if you don't know, if the names aren't familiar. Okay, we'll go back to that one. If somebody could research that, that'd be helpful.
It's Tetsuko.
That's right. It is Tetsuko. So that O are women in Japan names. like Yoko Ono.
Sakaki. Oh, yeah, the counselor whose name is Tetsuko Sakaki was a pleasant and abusive woman in her life.
Simile, we talked about is a way of comparing two things to describe the first one, using the word like or as. Does anyone recognize a simile from this story? Or not, not from this story, actually. It says not, right? Recognize that simile from another story. Anyone recognize that from the Hunwa Diaz story? How to date a black girl, white girl. Yeah, the attention grabbing laugh, like a gull's, like. But who could laugh like that? My imitation isn't very good for them. I don't know. So that's not in this story. So that's the answer. Yeah, not found in this story. So the other ones are in this story. You see how descriptive they are. Like her smile, like a spring moon at dusk. You know how you can't really see the moon at dusk that well? It's very faint, kind of just. And then the theme, a life without a name, was like a dream you never wake up from. That's pretty deep. That's what I was thinking.
She thinks she has. Someone told her she probably has beginning stages of Alzheimer's.
But then I was trying to figure out, well, usually that's when you're old. I was like, how old is she? And then it appeared that she might not be that old. Why did the author add the detail about Mizuki getting the sleeves on her dress altered? This is kind of silly, but to make the story realistic, to draw attention to her wrists where later she will wear an ID bracelet, to show she was a well-off lady, or just a scene he chose by random to show how she forgets her name. Just pick one real quick on that one. It's up to you. But as I said, authors don't do things by random. They put something in because they want you to know that detail. So I wouldn't pick for. Which one? Anybody have any opinion on that? Kiana, do you have an opinion on why?
Well, I kind of know, I kind of look. And always reading my little details like that,
Yeah,
so I would choose.
she said there's always a reason behind little details that the author put. And I think, yeah, 2 is a good one. Her economic status maybe isn't too important, especially that early in the story. So I think that's a good one. Draw attention to her wrists. And this happens later in the story, but it just popped out at me that there was black started coming as a descriptive word when it wasn't really that needed. Like ballpoint pen, who cares if it's black, you know? A black handbag, does it matter? I mean, does that show she's a certain kind of woman that she wears black handbag? Maybe. Maybe not. And a black nightstick, like why not just say nightstick or wooden nightstick, right? Or heavy nightstick. So what do you think about that? The foreshadow? We haven't talked about that. There's so many words we could talk about with literature, but I'm going to limit it as much as I can to like main character, setting, narrator, theme, simile, and a few others. What do you think? Do you think that was foreshadowing is forward means before, right? So they're kind of planting seeds to get you in a kind of like headset or to start to make associations. And then suddenly it just said black this, black that, this. So what do you think? Foreshadowing or just being descriptive? Shirley, what do you think? Ben? I think so. But that's just how I read it. As high schoolers, what did Mitsuki and Yuko have in common? Now, I don't know if everybody's gotten to that place in the story. This will have a lot of impact towards the end of the story, right? Story gets more dramatic at the end, like a lot more dramatic than it is at the first part. First part's just like some woman getting her sleeves shortened. She works at the Honda dealer. You know what I mean? She can't remember her name. She gets a bracelet. It's pretty bland. It gets more dramatic at the end. Who's read far enough to know what they think about? Were they actually really jealous? Because, you know, she denied being jealous. Or did they both tend not to reveal their feelings? So look closely when you read the story, finish the story. I'm hoping you guys could do this at home because it's too long to read into class. Please finish it. You have access to your campus at home if you have a computer.
I think I read like 16 pages.
It's long, but I know you can do it. It's not hard. It's not a hard story to read. No big words in it. Are there any big words in this story? Not really. It's pretty simple, but just long. So look for the jealousy aspect of it. You guys can choose one and then submit the poll. Look at who thought what. %. Does not help us. I'm just going to look at the jealousy one right now. I'm looking at 9 and 10. Looks like foreshadowing got an 83%. Can you guys see these results coming in? So that's the fun thing about polls. You can see who thought what. As far as number 10, looks like they were more on the side of not revealing their feelings to others. And that might be sort of a cultural thing in Japan too, is not to be like Americans, like, hey, how you doing? Kind of more like, more quiet. Or private about their feelings. So we got 10 not to reveal their feelings to others. That could be very important in the story too. Okay. Everybody weighed in on the poll. Nod. Gonna
I
end the,
didn't answer the last question.
did you submit already? Haven't answer it and then submit. I think the poll is still coming in. If anyone else wants to design a poll, I'd be happy to put it up in front of the class if it's appropriate. I shouldn't promise that. All right, so we're going to do one more thing, which is we're going to take a look at the story. I think we have 25 and 75%, so that's everybody for number 10. Can you see this coming in on your screens? Can't see it coming in. I guess it's only the hosts. Okay. So I'm going to open the story now, and you don't have to open it unless you already have it open. I just want to look at it for a few minutes. And we'll go back to the story on Wednesday briefly. We don't have a ton of time to spend on it, but I want to kind of finish it up. And we're going to do a little writing assignment for that, not right away, but soon. It's not an analysis of the story, more of the how you affected you personally. This will be our last fictional work. Then we're going to just deal with nonfiction like we did this morning. So let me see if I'm sharing the screen. So what tense is the first paragraph in? And we're talking verbs. Present, past, or future. Add, is that the present tense? Was. She was on the phone, is that the present tense? What would be the present tense? She is on the phone. She is on the phone. So that's in the past. She was. How about rummaged? Isn't that in the past? She rummaged through her purse. That's in the past with the ED. Looks like we need to do some work on verbs. Forgot is in the past. So we have a lot of these helping verbs. Could rattle. That's probably why you thought it was in the present tense. Because it's not just she rattles off or she rattled off, she could rattle. So that's a different tense with the helping verb. And I'm gonna look for something in here real quick. If I can. Here's some more. Started is in the past, happened is in the past. Remained. Was like a dream. This is a little unusual that they use so many helping verbs. Okay, let me just click down for a second. A few other things in this, we have counselors. We have the possessive there. So it's her job, the counselor's job. So you have the little possessive RS, I mean, apostrophe S. And look at the dialogue. How do we do dialogue? We put these little quotation marks. Let's look up at her. Yes, I can, comma with a quotation mark closed. Open and close quotation marks. Then you have the speaker. And then you have either said or replied. And then you start with the next part of their speech, the quotation marks. Good. So you're switching from the dialogues in the present tense and the description by the narrator is in the past. So here it says a lot of younger students worship her. But Yuko was friendly and she wasn't stuck up at all. She was a quiet girl who didn't show her feelings much. I couldn't always tell what she was thinking. Oh, so this is our main character talking. We're looking now, just while we're here in the story, evidence that he's inside the mind of other characters. And this is where it starts to get a little bit weirder. Like you love someone, but he loves someone else. So we're talking about, she asked her friend at school, asked Mizuki if she's jealous, who she just denies completely. Maybe she's not. But it's worth thinking about because of the weird things that happen to both of them. You're like, maybe they're connected in a weird way by jealousy, which is a very toxic emotion, right? It's a very painful emotion. It's not pleasant. But this is apparently, Yuko is quite jealous. Like you love someone, but he loves someone else. Like there's something you want very badly, but someone else just grabs it. Or there's something you can't quite do, but someone else is able to do it with no effort. So she's quite jealous. You ever felt jealous? So that's what they're talking about. And she says, I don't think I've ever felt that way. Have you? And she says, a lot. That's kind of the jealousy theme, and we want to see if it plays out in what happens at the end. Okay. And then there's the monkey. So kind of like being detectives, figuring out what the heck is going on, not just reading sort of passively, but really actively. And then Yuko says, I don't want a monkey running off with it while I'm gone. So considering what happens later, how does she say that at this point? That's something you would want to think about if you were a detective to try to put together a crime, for instance. When did someone say something about the crime before it happened? Okay. So again, we're kind of being detectives. Look what happened to Yuko. Terrible. And they just really kind of rush over it, actually, in the writing. And there's the name tags, which is just the strangest part. Wrote a story about name tags. All right, guys, thank you so much for your concentration. I'm going to talk to these two about their computer woes and issues, and we'll go on with our 10 steps on Wednesday and finish the poll on this story that I hope everybody finishes, please. Shouldn't take you more than 20 minutes to finish it up. All right, thanks, guys. Thank you, Zoomers. Thanks for your participation. Tonya, Danielle, and others. Oh, someone has a question about social studies. I was teaching tonight.
Yeah, there's a one.
And you need to know about the social studies class, Raven. text me. All right, so what's happening with you?
Nothing, I figured out I just didn't know where to go to when this is my section. I don't know which one to go at.
Okay, so you went to my 16, that's cool. This is the platform that the classes are taught on.
Okay, Canvas.
Yeah. And it's called Canvas.
Oh, Canvas, and then I just type in my ID.
Yeah. But if you go there. Yes.
What's his name? What's his name? Daniel? Yeah, he's. That's where. I went in, he went and wrote it down and what it. This, gave it to me, but I don't know what they did with it.
Well, you can go to the chat guy and ask him to give you a temporary password, and then you go in and change it to your own. They're really easy. to remember. It's super easy. And not like. Don't choose an account. No means you'll never forget.
Yeah.
And then you have to set some questions, with security questions. that you ask. Yes, in just a few minutes and then.
That's sign in right here.
Yes, I'm in there. That'd be great. They put me for afternoon social studies. No, shit. You'll find it. Just click on it, but then it's gonna take you to a folder. So you gotta. Yeah, okay. You did your security questions. So when they ask you your security questions, they ask you security questions. No, and you might want to write them down so you can read them, because that otherwise you'll have to reset your ones. The students and them from each other.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Sure. You can watch her doing this actually. You don't have to walk them. Also your email. For the email. Yeah, this is asking the classes. And it's a little confusing, but the job. Student classes. So you click on this to get on the Zoom, but we're not doing that. You click on this to sign in, do you sign in? Yes. Then these are all our materials. So if we wanted to find the Shingali and monkey. Story. Yeah. If you guys could read, if you could read tonight. Okay, or before,
I come to the library.
Yeah. It's a long story then. Are you going to go?
Here or the main one?
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Not that far. Me too. I need a new library card. Ugh, okay.
Yeah.
I've got a question.
Mhm.
Last start,
It starts at 10.
10. Is right now, where I stay at, I stay and working all at a halfway house. I was wondering if you can make me, write me a note saying that, change my time, where I, at 8